Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to bring this incredible woman to the show today. We met last year while I was filming an event in Austin, and she was one of the keynote speakers coming in to talk about her expertise in really helping people through their journey, through their pain, through their trauma, on their life path with the help of psilocybin. She is an expert. She is phenomenal. She's one of the most spiritually beautiful people I've ever met. So, really help me welcome Eva Payne to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about you being here, the topic that we're going to be talking about today that I'm a big, big believer in. So, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me. What an honor and a privilege. I love sharing this information. So I'm here. Whatever you want to ask, I'm an open book.
Welcome to the Soul Wide Open podcast with your host, author, and certified trauma-informed coach, Michelle Renee.
I'm here for it. Well,
Absolutely.
I really, we just talked about this offline, but I think we should start with it right away. I watched the show, How to Change Your Mind. And
Yeah.
although I've been very familiar with psilocybin, plant earth medicine, for a very long time, I partake. It's something that has been such a positive, has had so many positive outcomes and positive effects on my life, spiritually, emotionally. I could go on and on. Watching that and becoming more educated about it on such a deeper level really helped me to understand and start thinking about the stigma and what happened when sort of it was taken away from the public eye, and there was a stigma around it long ago that I think is getting better. But really, people educating themselves is such a key to understanding and really trying to, diminish that stigma out there and allowing this earth plant medicine to do what it's meant to do. Let's dive into all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up, I was born in 76. So I grew up with Nancy Reagan saying, say no to drugs. This is your brain on drugs. I spoke at DARE graduations in college. I did not do anything. I didn't drink ever till I was 20 for 1 year of my life. I became Mormon. So then there's nothing, no drugs, no alcohol. And so for me to be on this path is so incredibly wild to the version of me from even like 10 years ago. But ultimately, when I set out to figure out how do we live in flow, this
Yeah.
idea of like, how come everything in nature has rhyme and reason? Like, what is wrong with us? I'm 47 and I see all of these systems that are very broken. I see hurt people in jobs they don't like. It's like
Yeah.
we're just perpetuating pain. And I
Oh my
thought, this
God.
cannot be, this is not our baseline. This is not who we are.
No.
Therapy kind of works, antidepressants. And maybe for some people, I don't know, I was on them for a year and I thought it was horrible. And I've known people who have been on it for 20 years. In fact, psilocybin helps people wean off of it.
Oh,
And
it's so
so
good.
when I started really asking the question to the universe, God, grandma, whatever the heck, nature, how do we heal? Like legit. I'm not looking for some quick fix self-help book. Like, what is the real answer? How do we come home to ourselves? I don't believe anyone comes here as a bad person. We all come here whole, and then life happens and we don't have the tools, and we have not created the tools for us to really genuinely heal. Who cares about, I don't know, chemistry or physics when we don't even know how to communicate, when we don't know how to handle grief or shame or fear? It's like how to breathe properly. It's like we've just
Right.
totally missed the mark. We're living a very inverted life from what I think our baseline is. And so here is this medicine. I call it medicine. It's Earth's medicine. It's free. I mean, you can find it out there in nature. It knows you. When you take this medicine, it goes, what in this brain needs to heal? Literally, you can go Google any brain, anything, brain injury, brain disease, and psilocybin, and they're doing a study. So this is Eva philosophy, take it or leave it. But what I think happened is This medicine's been around for a very long time, a very long time. And it
And it's
was,
been used by
oh yeah,
cultures, literally different cultures
forever.
around the world for centuries and centuries and
Yes.
centuries.
Indigenous people, they know this, they connect with the earth. They see the earth as this living being that we are a part of. We are not separate from nature. We are nature. We have
Mhm.
separated ourselves from it. And the earth is asking us to heal. And I think in the late 60s, we saw hippies, right? People who were like, peace out on this capitalism thing. And we don't want to go to war, and all about the love and all about the peace, and really trying to figure out what it means to be an evolved human. And I
Mhm.
think let's call it they, well, whoever they are we're trying to survive. They're the profits, the greed, the desire for power. I mean, that's energy also. And that was trying to figure out a way to survive. So what do? Schedule 1, no medical benefits, just take it away from the people. And then let's scare the heck out of them, out of this
Yeah.
next generation. So they won't even look at it. And that's what they did. And they did a fabulous job. But what it caused is a whole bunch of us to be in this place where we're all just like, this cannot be it. This cannot be it. And then COVID happened. And what an absolute blessing in that it caused so many people to go within, to say, this is not how I'm living this next chapter. I'm not going to be dependent on pharmaceuticals. I don't want to do jobs that don't fill me up.
Yeah.
But who am I? How do I get out of this muck? I feel like a lot of people are drowning or treading water. And how do we get out of that?
Well, and I
Here
think what
comes
COVID
psilocybin.
did too was that I love that you brought this up. What COVID did was it forced people to sit with themselves and
Yeah.
their thoughts and their feelings, and they couldn't busy themselves. They couldn't busy themselves around it anymore. They couldn't, fill their lives with things to do and things to buy and all of these other things to make sure that they weren't sitting and facing whatever it is they needed to face, whatever it is they needed to sort through and actually heal from. Because for so long, those of us in trauma, like for myself, when it was childhood trauma or the kidnapping or what have you, we're we're running from it. I called myself in my book, I write about this. I was a runner for years, not the kind of runner that runs marathons, but I was a runner. I was running from everything for so long because I didn't want to face that. I didn't want to, figure out what I had become because of all of this stuff without healing. So that's a very difficult place to get to. However, COVID kind of forced everybody to have to do that and
Yeah,
go,
it's a
exactly,
breath.
who am I? Who have I become through all of this? Who am I with all of the busyness and everything else stripped away and the
Yeah.
labels and the shopping and the this and the that, and all the external stuff that we hide behind was gone. And I think it was so powerful for so many people who really took advantage of that time to do exactly what you said and go internal, strip away all of those
Yep.
masks, really start to consider what is enlightenment? What does healing look like for me and how do I want to get
Yeah.
there? And do I want to get there with what's going on in the pharmaceuticals or do I want to get there with something that's natural, with something that like you said that actually works. So, yeah, I think
Yeah.
COVID was powerful in
Right.
so many
In
ways.
so many ways. One of the biggest things for one of my biggest takeaways was I always believed that change took a long time. Like one of the things you said was there's a lot of stigma around psilocybin. I think that could quite literally change overnight. It takes the right podcast. It takes the right message. It takes something, because look at how quickly we could lock down the world. Literally 2 weeks and everyone's in their home. So change can come very quick. It's just, where's our awareness? And right now, I think the humanity's awareness is on healing. Like we are done with the games and we want to figure out, how do we really heal? And then who are we when we're not sitting in all of our own stuff? Like,
Yeah.
what do we want to create? Who do we want to be? We are creators. Like, human beings are magnificent creators. What could we create if we had an open mind, if we worked in open collaboration, if we were truly trying to find solutions to problems, truly trying to, is what I'm doing hurting or helping humanity? If it's hurting, what's the inversion of that? What is the opposite? Go and
Correct.
do that. What are your gifts? What are your talents? What are your desires? How do you want to show up in this world? And it's hard when you're depressed, when you're in anxiety, when you have
When you're
PTSD,
stuck. When you're stuck.
you're stuck.
When you're
It's hard.
ensnared, I call it being ensnared. Like
Yeah.
you're ensnared. It's not you're involved in an entanglement with inside of yourself. There's a big difference
Yep.
between, even when I talk to my friends about dating or, their relationships, there's a big difference between a relationship and an entanglement. Like really think about how do you get yourself, and you've got to have the desire to want to be unstuck. I was thinking about this on the way here, actually. Trauma can become the thing that you reach for every single day, that are your crutches that you reach for every day.
Yeah.
And that's how you hobble around for the rest of your life sometimes, until you decide that you're not going to reach for those crutches anymore, and you're going to replace those crutches with something that is going to propel you into a future that you could probably never even imagine, that's healed and joyful, that has adventure. You're bringing curiosity back into your life. You're bringing gratitude back into your life. You're bringing so many other things into your life when you decide that you're not going to reach for those crutches anymore. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And this is why I love psilocybin, because you and I can sit and talk about that and people can logically understand it. Like, okay, I see. That's why therapy, I talk to some people who understand their trauma on a logical level. My parents did the best they could, or that situation was for my good. There's value in it, but it's hard for me to tell. What psilocybin does so beautifully is it helps you to embody. It helps you to embody forgiveness, grace, compassion for yourself and others. It deepens your knowingness and embodiment of the word love. It's motherly, it's nurturing, it's not scary. Monsters aren't chasing you. It's an emotional process. Our job as the sitters, our job as someone who facilitates, is to take care of the human. We're not sitting there and talk therapy. You're not seeing crazy things in front of you. When you close your eyes and you go within and you're not just hanging out, partying, it's not about that. It's about putting on
No.
the eye shades, laying down, stepping into that dream, and allowing the subconscious and the medicine to do its job, to bring up what it needs to bring up. But ultimately, it's not even about the journey. It's about the neuroplasticity. I mean, literally the science. There is a
Mhm.
mushroom in the world that helps to heal the brain. Like,
Oh my
that's it.
gosh. I
That's it.
started getting into neuroplasticity when my daughter was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and she collapsed and was blind and paralyzed on her whole left side of her body. She went through 2.5 years of me being her caregiver, and me being who I am. I'm like, I'm going to just spend she was in the hospital for 6 weeks. I was on the computer in the hospital, started researching everything I could possibly get my hands on
Yeah.
about neuroplasticity. And I am telling you, not only did we start incorporating exercises at home that were triggering even the littlest tiny things with the signals in the brain to reroute and find their way to that part of the body in a new way, the signals and everything that neuroplasticity is about. But
Yeah.
she's also used psilocybin. And I have to tell you, she has
Yeah.
only used CBD and psilocybin for the last 8 years and has not relapsed.
Hello. I mean,
Hello.
and
Yeah.
look, you became a medicine woman for your child. Like, you did the
Yes.
research. There's actually things that we can do. There's exercises, at our retreats, we
I
do
have
breath
chills
work.
all over
We
my
do
body right now thinking
meditation.
about
Yes, like, we can heal ourselves. We are the medicine. The fact that the placebo effect even works says that we don't have to put anything in our body. You don't have to take psilocybin. You can heal yourself. It is possible. But here's what the medicine does is it lets you get out of your own way. We have created such deep patterns. It's so
Mm,
hard for people to step out of the beliefs that they have told themselves for 20 years, for 30
right?
years. you know?
Right.
And so it's psilocybin's that Zamboni machine for the mind. It clean slates it. And then it gives you these 21 days of neuroplasticity where you get to decide, what are the affirmations? What are the healthy habits that I want to bring into my life? What do I want my space to look like? How do I want my relationships to actually be? What does it mean to be authentic? Authentic in my relationships, authentic with who I am and what I want to create. It's like when we can move more and more in line with our heart and our mind, like that connection, we show up so differently. So
Oh,
here's a medicine that heals the freaking brain. Come on. Why is this on? Why is this Schedule 1? It
why
makes
is
no
this not on blast everywhere too, by the way? Like, why
hello,
you know
that's what
what?
we're
That's
doing
why I
here.
wanted you on the show. I'm like, we need to talk. This has to be talked about more and more and more and more and more. It isn't, back when I was in high school, like you said, it's not the party drug. It was never meant to be this
No,
party drug
no.
where everybody's sitting around just like eating handfuls of mushrooms or
Because
whatever the case
Michelle,
may be. Yeah.
the more you take, the more inwards you want to go. I mean, I
Yeah.
promise you, if there's anyone out there who was ever like, I took a whole bunch of mushrooms, I promise you they were in a corner, probably by themselves, because that's what the medicine does. It wants you to
Mhm.
go inward. It wants you to heal yourself. The fact that you can go down and buy as much alcohol as you want, tell me the medical benefit of alcohol. What is that?
Yeah.
It's literally ethanol. It's literally poison. It
Yeah.
causes so many problems in people, your personal health, in your relationships, but that's accessible. And then something like this that you cannot overdose on. You will not become addicted. You will not want to do this journey over and over again. This is like you do this once, you sit with it for months and you integrate in the experience. Maybe
Mm.
you feel called again, somewhere down the road. Maybe you microdose. This is not something that's going to become a crutch. It's a
Right.
tool in your toolbox, just like meditation, just like breath work, just like cold therapy, just like talk therapy, having a good therapist or coach or someone that you can really brainstorm life with, just like being creative in this world and using your gifts. That's therapy. There's we're
Yeah.
just we need to human better. And I think this is what we're really trying to figure out is legit, what's it going to take? How do we
Yeah.
do it? And we have got to get over the fact that people are calling this a drug, quote unquote. No, the stuff that's being made out there, those are the drugs. The stuff that you can
Right.
pull from the earth and eat and heals your brain. Okay,
Medicine.
come on.
Earth medicine.
Come
And
on. Come
they're
on.
starting now, thank God, all
Period.
of this research coming out about what this is doing
Yes.
for the good of people with PTSD that have gone coming back from war, what this is doing, how it's healing people who've been completely debilitated by depression for years and years and years. What this is doing for people is
Yeah.
remarkable. What tell me about I want to know from the time somebody kind of signs up for one of your retreats. I want to talk about your retreat because I'm just in love with the entire concept. From the time
Okay.
somebody gets in contact with you, wants to come to one of these retreats, walks in the door for this experience, what does that look like? What does that look like for them?
Mhm.
How do you, I called you this earlier, you're like this amazing sort of spiritual, emotional sort of psilocybin doula, helping people to kind of guide them and sitting with them and being this beautiful
Thank
caretaker
you.
of these people coming to you. What does that look like? What does that look like for them when they come to you?
Okay, so first and foremost, there's never any pressure. I really genuinely believe that you have to follow your own flow. Okay, so is the timing right? Does it keep coming up in your awareness? Do you hear someone talking about over here and over here? Have the algorithms found you? Is it like calling you? Okay, so everything lines up. Everything has to line up. So when my groups come together, they're so divine. It's like everyone is there for someone else. You're there to learn from someone else. You're there to teach something. And I genuinely believe that everyone who comes into your awareness has something to offer you, and you have something to offer them. So everyone who's watching this, it is an exchange of energy. So we get on a call, we chat a little bit, and then I say, go back and look at everything and decide. Then they decide, okay, these are the dates that are going to work. They come. Prior to even coming, we do a group call with everyone because I want everyone to see everyone else. Like, we're all just humans doing the best we can with what we got. We're all carrying shame, guilt, fear, anger, apathy, desire, like all the things that we would like to not have to hold on to all the time. So people
Yeah.
share a little bit why they're coming, how they know their goals will be realized. They come to the retreat. They're in Oregon or Colorado. That's where it's decriminalized. And there's some cities across the US as well, but that's where we host ours. And everything from the moment you get there is about service. One of the biggest things, I didn't even know this was a thing when we started them 2 years ago. We started them 2 years ago, and I've done 35 retreats since then.
What's the
Is
name of your
people,
retreats? Tell everybody the name of your retreats.
yeah, flow life retreat, flow life. Like, how do we live in that flow? And so it's really about letting your nervous system take a pause, take a
Mm,
break. Let us carry your luggage in. Here's some tea. Here's your space. Let's get your journal out. Check in with how you're feeling. I see, I hear, I feel, I am. Just like leave your life at the door. It'll be there when you come back. Just step into this space and take a deep breath. So we have dinner that night, and then we have a couple activities that night. One is, what is your intention? Ultimately, hate to say it, it doesn't really matter. Like, the medicine's going to give you it. It knows you better than you know you, but it's always
yeah.
good to have an intention, just so you have your own focus and awareness around why you're there. And then you got to let go of whatever that intention is.
Yeah.
So this first night,
Can't be too attached to the intention.
yeah,
It's good to
cannot.
have, just don't be too attached to it. Yeah.
Right. So we create that because I feel like it helps people to, sometimes they have a laundry list of intentions, and I want them just to bring it down to a symbol, a word. What do you want to create more of in your life? And really focusing on the fact that we are creators, and we are, every moment right now, you and I, we are creating something
Mhm.
in this moment. So what is that? Then we work on, we have an activity around Ho'oponopono. This is the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer, meaning bring things back into balance. It's please forgive
Mm.
me. Sorry, it's I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And so there's this activity when you look at someone, and everyone who comes into your awareness, you could say this to them. You could think this, people who you have hurt, people who have hurt you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You would not believe that alone, adding that into people's lives changes your heart
Oh, yeah.
completely. Just a little activity like that. And then we do a little letting go ceremony. And that's the end of that night. We end around like 9:30. The next morning is a guided meditation. Didn't even know I could do guided meditation. I absolutely love doing it. I feel like it's part of my bigger purpose, is to really help people see that they are the medicine, to go within. You don't need anyone else. You don't need a guru. You don't need to, it's all within you. You came here with the blueprint. Okay. It's inside of you. So my meditations are always around like coming within, going within, clearing
Yeah.
your mind and your heart, opening up your mind to creativity, whatever that is that lives outside of us, that works with us, tapping into that intuition that we have forgotten how to do, helping
Yeah.
people with that. So guided meditation, we go into a cold plunge, so many benefits around cold
Uh,
therapy. We do an hour of breath work. People, they're like, I don't even know what breath work is. You can reach these altered states of consciousness through just your breath, intentional breathing with some sound healing in the background. We've really evolved it over our retreat. Our sound healer now plays on top or underneath of me leading it. And I'm almost in a meditative state when I lead these breath works. And then I have people facilitating, helping those going through it. All the retreats are small, like 6 people. I rent a big house. Everyone has their own space. After breath work is when we go into the journeys. So we take a high dose. It's going to be somewhere between, let's just say we're starting at 4 grams. So microdose is maybe 100 milligrams. Subperceptual, it's like a vitamin. Nothing changes
right.
in the way that you perceive the world. You go on your day. It's like the
Yeah, I do like
tiniest,
a half a
tiniest.
gram when I microdose.
Yeah. So everyone's tolerance is a little different. But when you dive into a big journey, and if you're on an SSRI, you need more. Generally, I'm not a doctor, but 2 grams more. It's just from my experience of taking hundreds of people through.
Mhm.
So whatever the baseline is, if we start at 4, a lot of people on that SSRI need a little bit more, but after an hour, we get people to where they need to be. And everybody journeys differently. There is no wrong or right way to do it. we highly recommend being behind eye shades for a big part of it. And that is because everything is a distraction. This my this could be a distraction. My mug, I could sit there and ponder the mug for 2 hours. I can look out into nature. I can be distracted by other people. But when you have the
Yeah.
eye shades on and you're there with or without music, some people, all your senses are heightened. So some people don't like the music, but some people it really helps to guide them on their journey. And if you took the eye shades off, you might see some geometry. You might see the matrix, is what I look at. You kind of see the hologram that we live in. Um, but behind the eye shades, the medicine's talking to you. It's like a dream. It's like stepping into a lucid dream, but you are fully present and you can be curious. Like, why are you showing me that? What is that about? And you're not there
Mm.
to figure it out right now. You're just there to experience it. It's not, okay, well, some people say surrender, but I like to say allowing. It's allowing the unfolding. It's just moment to moment, letting the experience come through. What's happening is your brain, your left and right hemisphere are lighting up. So instead of
Yeah.
just 10% at a normal baseline where we're at, especially given all the chemicals and stuff in our waters and food, like we are not using our brain to the full capacity. In fact, a lot of the stuff out there is really hurting that. So the medicine has a lot of work to do. It's got to really heal our brains. Humans are probably going to have to journey several times, in the course of someone's life, especially the older you are. I think the deeper those patterns and grooves are, the more damage really
Yeah, and
that
I
there is.
think giving ourselves permission to receive,
Yes.
you
And just
know?
being
I
with
mean,
it.
that state of receiving, I'm speaking of this from experience because I didn't know for a really almost until definitely into my 40s how
Yeah.
to receive even a compliment because of my past and the
Isn't
way
that
that I was raised.
wild?
I had such difficulty
Okay.
receiving and feeling worthy of receiving even a
You are
gift
not alone.
or
You
a
are not
compliment
alone.
or any of yeah, and giving ourselves in this when we people who've gone through sort of trauma, especially if you've gone through and you have childhood trauma, you have complex trauma, you have generational trauma that
Oh,
is
yeah.
just stacking up and stacking up. Receiving and even allowing ourselves to receive this healing from the medicine
Yeah.
is so foreign to us. And once we get to
Yeah.
that place with the
Yeah.
help of you, your team, someone like you going to a retreat like this, it is an absolute catalytic shift,
Yes.
in my opinion.
And I think a lot of it is like ultimately just get the medicine in. Like
Yeah.
even if you're sitting with a therapist or you go to a clinic, Oregon has a lot of clinics that have opened up. There Something so magical about doing it in a small group. We're supposed to be in
Ah,
community. Human beings are meant to be in community. I saw it at my summer camps that I ran for 20 years. You could take kids from anywhere in the United States, and by the end of a week, they are family. It does not matter their identities, their background. And it's the
yeah.
same with us as adults. We forget. So being able to have a whole following day after this journey of integration, of being able to share what came up for you, of
It's
seeing that you're not
connectedness,
alone.
right? It's
It's
connectedness.
yes.
Everything's about connectedness. The energy in the entire universe is about
Yeah,
connectedness. It's
yeah,
connectedness with ourselves, connectedness with the earth, connectedness with energy with other people. For me, I just think if we could all just really begin to think about and have this acute awareness around connectedness and how just critical that is for our mental health, for our spiritual health, for our relationship health, for all of it. I just think being in a small group is
yeah.
I can't, and that's why I was so fascinated when you were telling me what you do. I literally cannot think of a better way to
Honestly,
really allow yourself this experience in the most beautiful of ways, besides a small group. I can't imagine a better way, honestly.
yeah, I see it. It's hard for me. We're starting to do one-day retreats because people are asking for that,
Yeah.
and it's still gonna be in a small group, but there's a part of me that's just like, I know the better way because I have experienced it all the different ways. I've taken people one-on-one in their homes. I have done small groups. I've done one day, all day kind of retreat things. And the amount of healing that happens, it's like tenfold. Like, let's say taking the medicine is on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5. Like at least you're getting it in. Being in that small group is 8, 9, 10 for some people. Being able
Yeah.
to be served, to be able to have someone bring you tea and bring you food and take your plate and just sit with you while you're crying, taking care of your vessel, allowing you to be vulnerable and open, and then
Yeah.
doing these other modalities, stepping into restorative yoga and art healing and sound healing and the breath work and the meditations, stacking these modalities, and then having a network of people after you go home that you
Yes.
can still talk to and say, hey, these are the goals I set, and this is where I'm at. And here's where things are kind of getting hard, but here's where I'm seeing success. Getting to be able to share your wins with someone. We just finished a retreat, and several of the women went home and they hugged their mom and they told their mom how much they love them, and they didn't have the best relationship with their mom, but this journey really helped them to see their parents in this whole new way of grace and like forgiveness and understanding that their parents are freaking just people trying to do their best in really crappy systems, just like they are. And it's
Yeah.
just the amount of healing that happens. It's so
Yeah.
freaking
I like the
profound.
holistic approach. I love the holistic
Yes.
approach that to it, and including the cold plunge. I do that often. I don't have a cold plunge here, so I go and I get bags of ice and I put them in my bathtub and I do cold
Yes.
plunges myself, or I'll stand in a cold shower at the end,
Yes.
because the benefits, once you begin to open your awareness to the different ways that you can reset your nervous system, what does that do for the inflammation in the body? If you're not looking at how to reduce that inflammation in the body, how is that inflammation negatively impacting you, and including your brain fog and your thoughts and the different things that are happening and causing pain, which causes us what, which causes us to be thinking about the pain and feeling the pain and, being clogged up with all of that kind of stuff. These are all ways, and the way that you're wrapping this sort of this wraparound program as this holistic approach, for me personally, I think is just phenomenal. I don't even know how
Yeah.
anybody could do this in a one day, as much healing that happens in
Yeah.
this in
I'm
just one day,
Yeah.
and just going home and being like this. That to me doesn't even,
Gotta have
it doesn't
support.
even feel right. Like in my
Yeah.
right now, I can feel like I'm
I know.
sort of
That's why
rejecting that in a way. I don't know.
I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see. It's in the
Okay,
books.
I wanna
But
know
I
how it goes. Keep me
honestly,
posted.
okay, I wanna know how it goes too. This is
Yeah.
me, like, trial and error, trying to, like, figure it out. Like, can it be the same? I think integration is such a big piece of it because you do have these 21 days of neuroplasticity. So I think having that support after, whether it's within the group that was there or you have a coach, integration is not my specialty. My specialty is honestly these retreats. It's sitting with someone. I have seen so many different people go through journeys. They're all different, from just laying there very peaceful to complete disassociation, and really needing someone to be there to be supportive of them and help them through. It will end. It is a round trip ticket. You just need a human there who loves you, who can take care of your vessel, and who doesn't have fear or anxiety, because your senses are completely heightened. So if you're sitting with someone who's like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" You can pick that up, and
Oh, yeah.
it's not good.
That
So
will
really
completely
having
change their
someone. Yeah,
experience as well. That will completely
right.
change their experience. Yeah.
Right. Just imagine if you were giving birth and your doula was freaking out, like, because this is her, like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Here
Oh
comes
my
this
God,
baby."
blood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to have someone calm the space, but also, where do you start? I started with my sister. I was like, I think I need to be a
I love
medicine woman.
that.
And my sister's like, take me through a journey. And there was no expectation. It was like, I'm going to do my best and let's see how it goes. And at the time I was coaching some women and they knew me really well. And they said, come sit with me. And it was like the medicine, the universe, I don't know, the way that it unfolded in my life, my first few retreats, I thought, this is a piece of cake. Like, nobody had a hard time. Everything was easy. It was almost like each retreat, I learned a little bit more. And
Mm.
like one person was a little bit challenging. I was like, "Ooh, I get to do something," And then
Yeah.
the next one is a little bit more challenging. And then this kind of different experience. And so it was literally line upon line. It was just, Eva, just keep taking the next loving step. Just keep following this. Everything's going to be okay. The right people are going to come in. It's going to grow as it needs to grow. You're going to adapt. You're going to learn new things. You're going to become better in this space. So here I am,
I
doing this.
love what you just said.
Thanks.
Keep taking the next loving steps.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
would love just the audience, right now to just close their eyes and repeat that to themselves. Just keep taking the next loving steps.
Yeah.
That is such an important message for people to not only hear, but to incorporate into their lives, to sort of
Yeah.
live by that mantra. I really, really love that. When is your next retreat? What's happening? How can people be a part of this? How can people learn more? Where
Yeah.
can they go to find you, talk to you, find out about your retreats?
Yeah. The easiest way is flowliferetreat.com. Just go to the website. There's a dates tab. I always have it updated there. There's also, I mean, I'm not trying to hide anything. Everything is there. Tons of integration, tons of preparation. If you know nothing about psilocybin, go there. Lots of podcasts and interviews and testimonials from people. Just don't be afraid to have an open mind.
Yeah.
Just it's okay. It's okay if there's a little bit of fear. The most loving next step for you might just be sitting with just this podcast right here and just
Yeah.
going and sitting in nature and being like, okay, I'm just going to sit with that. Or maybe it's go watch How to Change Your Mind or Fantastic Fungi, a great documentary out there.
Oh,
Just go
that's one of
sit
my
with some information.
favorites.
Yes. It's
Fantastic
beautiful.
Fungi is a must see for
Yeah.
literally for anybody, in my opinion, who's interested. I mean, it was scientific, it was
Yep.
nature, it was in depth, it was just
Yeah.
talk about connectedness. Oh
Yeah.
my
And it's
God.
really just mushrooms. They talk a
I
little bit
mean,
about
mushrooms.
psychedelics.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's just the benefits of mushrooms in general and how amazing they are.
Oh,
This amazing gift in so many ways for us. I mean, mushrooms can heal cancer. Mushrooms can be turned into materials that we can use,
it was
just like
that
cannabis. Yeah,
documentary is
same.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
incredible. Everybody go watch Fantastic Fungi. No kidding. Amazing. Just
definitely.
how it's all connected. And I mean, just everything that so many different types of mushrooms around the world, what these amazing, beautiful, healing earth medicine plants can do is remarkable.
Yeah, yeah. I'm honored. I I had no idea this is where I would be. I have no idea where I'll be even in 6 months. I just live. I follow my heart every day and I look out into the world and I'm like, universe, I know you're talking to me. And so I'm
Yeah.
open to the people that come in. I'm open to the ideas that come in. I'm literally here to serve and to figure out how to evolve humanity out of the chaos in like very real ways. And that's it. And I think if we all just whoever feels called, maybe it's not everyone, but if you feel called into healing yourself and then figuring out how to use your gifts to fill a need in the world, that's it. That's life. That's all you have to do.
Evolving, helping people evolve out of the chaos. What a calling on the soul. What an amazing calling on your life that you're
Thanks.
saying yes to. We're all called in so many different ways. It's up to us to be open and say yes to those callings. Congratulations and bravo on showing up to say yes to that, to say yes to yourself, to say yes to the calling, helping people evolve out of the chaos. Unbelievable. And you are literally, you just kept saying over and over, open, open. I'm just living. You are the epitome of living with your soul wide open. That is what I'm all about. That's what this show is all about. Inspiring people to live in a way where their soul is so open to what the universe is calling them to do, so open to healing, so open to forgiveness and gratitude and being mindful and love and letting love and understanding be the absolute North Star that
Yeah.
they follow is really the goal for me. And that is my calling, to really inspire people to live in that way. So thank you so, so much for being here, sharing this
Welcome.
incredible, this incredible calling on your soul and on your life that you're showing up for. I'm so stoked that we met in Austin
Me too.
last year.
No
And
accidents. Everything is divine. Every moment is divine.
it's funny because before we actually met, Lindell was saying, somebody's, before you even arrived at the event, it was like, you and Ava, wait till you meet this person. You two are going to hit it off. You two are just like souls in
Yeah.
your being and in your, the way that you show up in the world. And he could not have been more right. So it's really been such
Aw.
a pleasure. And we'll put all of the contact information, links in the show notes, all that good stuff for people to reach out to you. If anybody has any questions, comments, anything for Eva, again, go to her website. It is flowlife.com. We'll put all the links in the show notes. I think you're on Instagram too. So go and find Eva over on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Eva Payne. Yeah.
Eva Payne on Instagram. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Um, Thank you for being here. I've loved every second of this. I'm a huge advocate for what it is that you're doing, and educating people and really opening people's souls up to this beautiful, healing, amazing earth plant medicine. So thank you for what you're doing for the
Thank you
world,
for
really.
having Thank you for being
Be-
open to talking about this. We need more people like you who aren't afraid, who are willing to just speak the truth about it. And then I think people will be done. It's like, are you done suffering? Are you done?
are you
Because
done?
pain is there's pain in being a human. We don't have to suffer. We
Yeah.
don't have to live in the suffering. There is
Yeah.
a solution. And give me something better and
Yeah.
I'll go promote that. But right now, I don't know of anything better.
Are
So
you done
that's why
reaching for the crutches? Are you
are
done
you
reaching for those crutches? Are you
Yes.
done? Are
Yeah.
you done self-sabotaging? Are you done hurting yourself? And I say this a lot. Yes, we went through something very traumatic, and that person harming me is no longer happening. I am now, as long as I reach for that crutch, as long as I live in that state of pain and anger and all of those other negative emotions, I'm actually hurting myself. Are you
Yeah.
done harming yourself? Are you done reaching for the crutches? Are you done suffering? What a great way to end the show. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Eva Payne. I appreciate you. And everybody, if you like the show, love the show, like it, love it, hit that subscribe button, share it. I would appreciate all the love. We're still growing our audience. We're brand new. I'm excited to keep bringing you these great, really topics and guests and people that are going to help you shift your hopefully your thinking and where you are in your life in a much more open direction and a much more in a direction that's much more about self-awareness, that is about self-love, that is about self-healing and living with your soul wide open. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.